Light FM, Chicago and Whitney there, and Morning Dave here. How do? It's 8:41 now, 19 before 9. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. And Legal Beagle Beans, it's time for us to check in on finances with the help of Philip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring, who is on the phone this morning. Philip, after a couple of party days on Wall Street, we kind of took a pause yesterday, didn't we?
We did, Dave. At least a couple of the indexes did. It ended up being still not horrific in terms of downside, but the NASDAQ actually did eke out a small gain yesterday.
Absolutely. At the close, we ended up with the Dow down by 0.9%, which you'd think was bad news, but then again, when you put it in perspective, it really isn't all that bad. S&P was only down 0.3%. Like I said, NASDAQ was up by 0.2%, and the Russell 2000 was down by about 0.3%. But still, one of my tip sheets brought this out. Off of those first 3 trading days of the year, the Dow, at the very least, is off to its best yearly start since 2018. So that kind of backs up the point of view. It was mostly just profit-taking off of a record close from the day before. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so. And I'm looking at my ticker going across here, and they popped up that for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, they're on track for their third positive week in 4 weeks. So, if they keep up today, though today is going to open in the red, it looks like. They maybe they had a good enough day on Monday and Tuesday to push them into positive territory for the week, but at least they're on track for that.
Absolutely. It kind of emphasizes the point when you look at year-to-date so far. Granted, it's only 3 days of year-to-date trading, but at the same time, you look at the Dow down 466, taken as a data point, it doesn't sound good, but so far for the year, we've got the best start since 2018 on the Dow, and frankly, the S&P and the NASDAQ look pretty darn good as well. So if we have 1 day of profit-taking, worst things can happen on a week-over-week basis. We got a bunch of data in yesterday after the ADP report came out. Yesterday morning, we had the snapshot on private sector jobs added during the month of December, and it was a positive number, just not quite as positive as the economists were expecting. I was kind of seeing that as being, number one, kind of a Cinderella moment, and that just on the grounds that it gives us an opportunity to give one more bit of information that might help the Fed make an interest rate decision later on this month. But at the same time, still, it's kind of emphasizing the fact that we've got a no hire, no fire, nobody changes jobs economy going on right now. Looks like the JOLTS report kind of confirmed that as well, didn't it?
It did, Dave, because we're looking at the JOLTS report, and it actually fell, meaning there's less job openings now than what there were in the previous month. And so it fell to 7.1 million, which sounds like a lot of jobs, but that's down from the 7.5 it was the month before.
Meaning we aren't firing very many people, but we aren't hiring any either, right?
Exactly. That seems to be the case right now. And so, and then the other thing that came out yesterday were factory orders. Now they were only for the month of October. They haven't caught up with those yet. But they were down 1.3% versus September's factory orders were up 0.2%.
Well, at least we're showing a positive trend on one of the 2 months. The factory orders kind of dovetails in another piece of data that you found out. The report on the trade deficit, actually, it sounds kind of interesting. We aren't buying half the imports we were before, are we?
It seems like it. It seems like our trade deficit has shrunk a little bit, which is good. Did not go up by as much as actually went down some. So that was kind of some good news there too. As we look at the trade deficit, we always are looking at that. The other thing that counts is productivity. Productivity was basically the same as expected, 4.9%, but that productivity actually went up from 4.1%. We're getting more productivity out of the folks we have working.
Yeah, well, if we're not going to hire anybody more, we got to be able to make the people we got work harder, don't we?
Exactly.
People out in the hallway, catch that. All right, never mind. Had to put my own marching orders in here. The other bit of government data we got, and actually, once again, it's actually current data. First-time jobless claims, pretty much in the neighborhood expected. My tip sheets had talked about 215 expected, 208,000 first-time jobless claims last week, once again confirming our employment picture as it goes on. The oil stocks are having a lot of fun, but there isn't a lot more. I've got to mention Bitcoin. Fell 3% yesterday again. Boy, if you want a stable hedge investment.
Yeah, and it's down another 1.1% this morning. So back
Yeah,
past 90, down to 89.9.
oh, Lord, crypto ain't your place to go. It's way too early for earnings season, but at the same time, we've actually got somebody folks have actually heard of that reported a quarterly number, didn't they?
They did. Constellation Brands, which is the liquor distributor, they make Corona, Modelo, beer distributor. So they reported better than expected, Dave. They made $3.06 a share, expected $2.63. So a pretty big number jump there. Revenue ahead of expectations as well. That has Constellation Brands up about 2.3% this morning before we get started. The other earnings report I have was a company called Applied Digital.
Mm-hmm.
They really had a good quarter. They were expected to only make like 188. I mean, $88 million was supposed to be their gross revenue. They actually grossed 127 million. They were expected to lose 12 cents a share. They actually broke even. So some good numbers for Applied Digital. They're trading up 6% this morning. So that's some good news for them.
Got any idea what that company actually makes? The numbers aren't monster like Nvidia by any measure, but that's a big beat, and I wonder what they do.
I'm not sure exactly. I know that the
Yeah.
last little word in my tip sheet was the company said is in advanced discussions with another investment grade hyperscaler. I don't know what that is across multiple regions. So maybe they're trying to scale their business, and so they're in talks with somebody to help them do that. On the other front, we do have some upgrades, Dave, to
Yeah.
kind of mention. The Gap got upgraded by UBS, which is pushing them up about 4% this morning. The Alcoa, they got downgraded by JP Morgan to underweight, so they're trading down about 4% this morning as we get ready to head into the trading day.
All righty. Other tidbits I found out: if you got an Apple credit card, you're about to have a new bank that you owe money to. Apple's been trying to get somebody to take over from who is? Oh yeah, Goldman Sachs underwrote their credit card when they introduced it a while ago. Goldman Sachs said, we don't want to do that anymore. J.P. Morgan has now reached a deal to take over Apple's credit cards. That thing you might have resident on your phone, just about to go through a new bank, and they're still fighting over buying Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Paramount put in another sweeten the pot image offer in yesterday. The board at Warner said, we still don't like it. We want to sell to Netflix. This time it was backed up by, what's his name? The guy that runs Oracle was guaranteeing the Paramount offer. And
And here's the deal from what I've read, Dave, is that, Warner, they've said, here's what you have to do to make the offer where we'll look at it. And they've yet to put together those specific things that they're looking for in the offer. So at this point, until those things are in the next offer, which it doesn't sound like they're going to be, they're just poo-pooing that offer.
Yeah, the Warner people said that the current Paramount offer looked too much like a leveraged buyout, and they still want to sell out. It's always fun watching giants throwing rocks at each other, though, isn't it?
It is, small tidbits of money, right?
Yeah, one of those things where you kind of say, why can't they both lose? Resetting the table, the U.S. markets were, okay, call it profit taking yesterday. The Dow was down measurably. Everything else wasn't really any great shakes. 45 minutes before we open this morning, what are we looking at?
We've got, red ink across all the boards today, Dave. The Dow Jones Industrial 30 down almost 0.4%. The S&P 500 down a little over 0.1%. And the NASDAQ 100 down almost 0.2. Russell 2000 is down 0.33% this morning. On the other side of the coin, silver getting hammered this morning, down 4.25%. To $74.33 an ounce. Gold is down a little over 0.5%. Crude oil's up, Dave, 1.8% to $57.01 per barrel.
Yeah, I kind of liked it yesterday when we were down in the 56s. That was kind of fun to report. Looking across the ponds, the Asian Rim market pretty much off at the 6 a.m. close this morning. Australia was up. Almost everybody else was down. The two mainland Chinese markets between 1 and 0.5%. So it was red on the Asian Rim. Over on the European community, they're also off by a bit. Again, not looking at major moves in the process, but the average European index down by about 0.33% halfway through the European trading day. Getting my investments together so that I don't look at these red ink days and go, that takes a little planning. How do I find you to be able to make my retirement plans a bit more stable?
David, give us a call at 863-382-0037. Schedule your core retirement analysis. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
And back here again tomorrow morning with an up-to-the-second update here on Light. I appreciate it. You have a good day, my friend.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Take care. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Philip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Hope your week is going well, and we're almost to the end of it. Take care. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.